Hi everybody, it's Curtis from Omaha Knife, and you've not heard from us in a while, and I don't have a really good excuse for that. Well, maybe I do. But anyway, we've been busy is the really good excuse, but a whole lot of different things over the last year, however long it's been since we've done one of these. We've been sick, we've had other things. I might tell you the story later, or one or more of the stories. But today, let's just unbox some axes. Before we do that, got to remind you, Facebook and Instagram, we're now doing a better job of posting things like inventory updates, new models and stuff like that. So you should follow us on Instagram and or Facebook, because we don't clutter it. We don't do goof off pictures or goof off videos or anything like that. We try to always on our posts, including these videos, be either entertaining or educational. Now I guess if we were dancing, that would be entertaining at some level, but entertaining in a way that kind of applies to this stuff. And opening these axes, I mean, if somebody's like, you never make me laugh, it's like not that kind of entertainment. Just opening a whole bunch of axes and looking at each one is really entertainment more than it is education. And we like looking at them, so we know a bunch of you do too. And now I've made you listen to 20 seconds of rambling and haven't shown you much. So in this first box, we haven't had these in a while. The double bits. They're quite expensive, and I don't do prices in these videos because in 5 years you'll be saying, hey, you told me that was however much and now it's a bigger fortune. So, you know, a big price increase this year like everybody else, and you know, hopefully you got a raise at work so that you can you know, deal with these price increases. But anyway, let's look at this one now. This happens sometimes, but usually not. The folded axe book. Oh, and that's the old book. So we'll show you the new book here in a bit. So nice. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see all the details. No, I don't need them. So there's the cutting edge on this, because I don't think we've really shown these double bits before. Maybe, yeah, we probably did where we had all the models laid out, but not in one of these. Do I have that? All right. So we're doing these in a different location today. This is on the office side, and I'm throwing them over here onto Izzy. Oh, and you can get Izzy. She has her own couch, and her own subwoofer over there. And this is her bed. Izzy's 8 now, and she's worked here the whole time. She's been working here since she was 8 weeks old at Christmas time. The next work day after Christmas was her first day here. So anyway, let's get back to axes. I guess we have 3 of them. So great, but not terribly bold. So some people will consider this perfect wood grain. I like to see some bold lines, and there's our maker mark. Looks like CS. And the other side, yeah, I think this one, maybe it's just the lighting angle, but this one seems to be stamped better than the last one we looked at. And Bruk, the camera lady, has specific instructions to not film the back of my head, or the top, or the side, or the front. Is she doing okay at that, guys? I never watch these videos, so I wouldn't actually know. And the reason I don't watch the videos is because, like everybody else, I cannot stand the sound of my own voice. I think I sound really cool, you know, when I'm talking and I hear it like that. But when it's recorded and played back, I'm like, no thanks. All right, so these others we're going to run through faster because we've seen these details a lot. I do want my glasses. So this is a beautiful dark wood handle. Now, I've said in other videos, and in case you didn't watch the older ones, we've changed kind of our attitude on how we do things. Any super looking handle, we're going to hold back for somebody who asks for it. See, here's another super looking handle. We used to only hold back the dark ones because those were rare. But, you know, people watch these videos and they're like, yeah, I want a super looking handle. And now being a super looking handle does not make for a better axe. It just looks great. So people who have that as their top priority, and I'm one of those people, would ask for that because they've seen the video and know it's possible. That one's cool, not as. I'm just looking at a few things. So this one seems like, for the most part, quite symmetrical down there. Had a customer who didn't like the asymmetry that we had on another batch, and the few we had left all had the same asymmetrical kind of look back here. Of course, it did not matter at all for a user. And this is a beautiful axe all the way around. His tool set must have got cleaned up or something. But anyway, we're spending a whole lot of time. We're not very far into this. We talked about it. Are you getting this? This one's tight. When you put the sheath on these, pinch it so that you can get the most space up here and take the point and dig the point down in, you know, I'm exaggerating, but, you know, down in there like that. Now, if I try to put on now, I cut here. But you really want to dig. So you get it up to where it touches, and man, because you don't want to cut the leather. So that one's really tight, and you know what? We're gonna try a different sheath on that one. Okay, so that one not as cool, but it's fine. We'll try to run faster even on the cool ones. Oh, and this is a case as it came from Sweden, not repacked in the US, which sometimes they're rationed so that we're not getting a full box. Great looking one. And almost, you know, I'm thinking, did we already look at this one? But no, we have two that look really awesome like that. I wanted to get to this one, see the rest of it. Okay, so only the, now if we could get a whole handle that looked like that, that would be awesome. But you just get a hint of it. Oh, and the new book. So, by the way, so it's thicker. There's more to this book than the last book. So, but those double bits, actually, I'll tell you the whole truth on the double bits. They came in previously, and things have been crazy enough around here. That box was misplaced. And when this order came in, or at some point after this order came in, because it was on top, somebody was like, hey, what are these axes? And so they were brought to the front. They've, I don't know, been here this year, but just a few months. Yeah, so some people fine with that. Well, I mean, if you don't care about looks of the handle, you're going to be fine with that. By the way, this whole box probably going to be CS. And I'm going to try to go faster. I like that one. That's darker, medium dark, I would call it. Oh, wait, no, I was wrong. we have MB and CS in this box. Back to CS. Ooh, I like the little eyeball thing. And again, some people are going to look at that handle and not like it at all, because they want their lines perfectly straight and all that stuff. Now, that's, you know, taking it to an extreme. Let's just look at some head details again. This is MB. When we did it before, I'm sure it was CS. So nicely sharpened. So on his stamp, he's been there a while now. This stamp's pretty clear, but these guys that have been there longer, their tool stamp gets kind of worn and they don't strike as clear. I don't know. Coyote? No, I don't know. A little bit on that side. Yeah, I have no idea what that's about. But, you know, nicely sharpened. And so people get, we've mentioned this before, but let's do it again. The kind of crack down there, we're wrestling around to try to, so that kind of crack here, that's not a crack. It goes further than you can see in this video. When the eye is punched, it's knocked open, and then, I don't know the right tool names, but then a sizer piece is put through the big opening, and then it's mashed back down. And when it mashes down, it puts, we'll call that slack. The slack is pushed up in there. And like the splitting stuff won't have that because it's an oval, you know, a roundish. Let's get the top. Little bit of gap, and I'll come back and talk about that. The roundish ones don't have it, but these others, your small or Scandinavian forest axe, wildlife hatchet, you know, they're going to have this. Now, some people will get bent out of shape about this little spot, and now you're close enough. That's fine. Well, maybe fine. There's a little opening there. They'll get bent out of shape about that. Pretty much they all have it, and that absolutely does not matter. It will never matter. Just forget that it's there. And another really tight sheath. And if you notice, my hands are a little shaky because I notice it. Oh, this sheath, this is the opposite. And there's our like wild animal scratch marks. So see this one, oh, it came off much easier than, so this is pretty normal. Or is it? That's weird, it came right off. Am I doing it wrong? I thought it was really loose when it came off. But anyway, so I had a pretty good case of COVID in October and missed a whole lot of work and was in the hospital for 5 days and then missed 2 more weeks of work. And I assume this is why, but recently I woke up with a fever, and here we can look. So Shirley's the newer guy. See how his stamp, how clear his stamp is. Now, when I say new, they didn't just go grab somebody off the street and say, hey, want to make axes? I mean, it's a very sought after job. And to get it, you have to have major skills. You have to be super talented. So anyway, I woke up with a fever. No idea why. Short version is a couple trips to the doctor over a few days' time, going to the doctor. 3 different antibiotics. And they checked me for a gazillion things. They did a chest x-ray on the first one and actually a CT on the second one. But it was just a situation of whatever the third antibiotic was was the correct one for that particular pneumonia. But they also gave me steroids. So for lung inflammation, I guess. But anyway, on the steroids for a while, and then I noticed one day that my hands were a little shaky, and I'm like, oh no, because I've always prided myself on steady hands. And looked into it, and that's a side effect of the steroid. So another nice maul. So I'm not like losing it or anything, I don't think. And I'm weaning off the steroid now. So that shake, and the shake is better. And another maul. I have a maul, and I love it. Like everything else in the Gransfors line, the maul is really worked out for balance. You know, the collar guard, they were the first to do a collar guard in a production axe. They got the idea from going around. This is one of the early things they did. They went around farms in Sweden and either purchased or looked at old axes and looked at the modifications. And that's how they came up with that. All right, we got some smaller stuff here. So a mini hatchet. So IB, and I'm not sure what else we see his work in. He does a lot of mini hatchets, so maybe he has to do them all because his initials are smaller, take up less space. Maybe CS's initials run off the head. You know I'm just kidding on that, right? Oh, so you usually don't get on a handle this small one with that much grain, or that much contrast. We're only showing you about half the order, and we're going to go faster now because I'm looking at the timer. We're at 17 minutes. So that one's cool. I don't remember what those lines are called. Well, we're going to call it tiger striping for the moment. Our grain runs that way and those tiger stripe marks that way. I love that look. So just scan all four, and then we'll... Now, if I get this video loaded correctly and all that, it'll be up about the time these go online. I don't know. We tried this once before, and it was super hard. All right, a brief interruption there. We do this outside of business hours, but not very far outside, so we do have to break sometimes. So wildlife hatchets, this one's pretty cool looking. And ES, the maker, pretty even on the stamping, but it looks, a little more worn. Nicely done on the sharpening, as everyone that we've looked at has been. This spot right here, some people don't like it. When we talked earlier about the hole being knocked open, then the sizer thing put in, this is pounded down with the sizer thing inside. So some people fear that this dent is replicated or whatever on the inside of the head. It's not. It's perfectly sized for the handle on the inside. So you run across that sometimes. Even on really vintage stuff, you'll see it. There was a new maker a while back, I don't remember at all his initials. But man, he really dented all of them. And I know that some people did not like that, because after the video, so ES hits them pretty hard. After the video, people didn't want a dented one like that. And so, if we could give them one, if we had them without the dent, of course we would. Now, that I think is just pretty sweet looking. the way it kind of ends down there, and and that side too. So that's so far the best wildlife hatchet. Now, I was saying earlier, and maybe when that dude came in, I hope I'm not being redundant. Once before we tried saying, hey, if you want one of these, let us know which one. But of course, everybody wanted the same one. And it was a lot of, I don't know, not work, because it wasn't that hard, but a lot of time spent trying to match things up and stuff. But if there's one you really want, and you can put the time and on your order, say if possible I'd like the one at minute 13:12 or whatever, with the whatever detail you like. And if we have it, we'll do it. If not, we'll use that as a guide and get you as close as possible. Now, some people don't like something like this. I do. Oh, this little black spot, I don't know if I mentioned this before in a video, I think so, but that is the strongest piece of wood on the whole handle and the most resistant to rot. In all these dark spots. So this was explained to me by a hardcore arborist. I won't go into what he's done, but he's nutty on trees, and I didn't mean any kind of joke there, but he is. So what happens when a tree is harmed, lightning, a person, an animal, it will send extra resources to that area. So the wood in that area, so this especially, if the whole handle looked like that, a lot of people would think that's going to break, but it would be super strong because the extra resources dumped into the into that area. And I don't know if it's going to, probably would burn better too, but it's resistant to rot and stronger. So, all right, still not doing what we talked about before we started, which was make a short video. And so somebody's footprint from Sweden. Should we keep that in case somebody wants to put it on their fridge? Footprints from Sweden. Oh, just some replacement handles, but let's look at them real quick. Like that, I would be happy to have on my wildlife hatchet. And what? That's a small forest axe handle, so that's cool. Just some of these caught my eye. Now, I'll tell you something. At home, I have the coolest small forest axe handle you've ever seen, because it was so cool. I put it on the wall here, not for sale. So many people offered, or they didn't offer, it's like, what would it take to be able to buy that? And it's like, no, I am not going to let somebody talk me into that. So I took it home. All right, so I'm glad we didn't just stop when we saw the handles. So outdoor axes, JL, it fits, but we don't know him very well. I'm just trying to think of how long maybe we've been seeing his stuff. We've seen him before, but I don't remember for how long. So just looking at his head work. Now, while we're obsessing mostly on handles, there are details coming close just on the head. So there are details like this that many of us find to be cool character, but there will be people that are watching YouTube or reading stuff, and they'll read or hear in the video that, by the way, I figured out what's going on with these sheaths. The leather's a little thicker, so they need a little breaking in. So I think those that I've set aside I'll mush them around a little bit to get them to fit better. But anyway, oh, different initials. I don't think I've seen RO before. But anyway, they'll have an expectation, and they'll get it, and it has all these imperfections. And do you see, that is, yeah, it's definitely RO. And yeah, just trying to, there it is, that was clear. But on the details, they'll be upset that there's all these blemishes in the head and all this stuff. I mean, they just had no idea what they were ordering. And so with those people, when they're that out of touch, it's like, okay, just send it back and we'll give you a refund. And they'll say, well, I want one, and just describe some fantasy thing. And it's like, yeah, let's go ahead and send that one back and get them refunded and be done. Because people who want a handmade axe, and, well, you can fill the rest in. All right, we're getting close. Oh, what is this? Like New Guy Corner, although I think I've seen EW before. Let's see. It's just funny that we've seen 3 or 4 makers in one model. So what I'm looking at is the strike mark here. Probably back up a little and tap it again. So the strike mark here, and then it's rounded a little bit there. And their initials are struck last, so it's none of that was distorted. But I don't know, that's kind of strange. Now, here, get this, you don't have to be terribly close. So back here, not being perfectly flat, that's common, but it stands out on this one and his initials. So you know what this means. Nobody that watches the video is going to want this axe. They're going to say, but not one made by EW. Uh-oh, another EW. He does something. His initials show nicely, but this one kind of has the same stuff. So there's definitely something that he does consistently that brings out, to prove it, I don't know, RO here has a little bit, so that must come from closing the back of the eye, or when they close the eye, there's a tool strike there. And our boy, now I forget his initials, so I hope he's not watching. That would be offensive. So RO has those same lines. He's just not striking either of them as much. So that's interesting. See, you guys that care about heads and not handles, well, they've already stopped watching because we're talking about handles. All right, so EW, same, okay. His is much the same, so it just really stuck out on the one, and I never noticed it before. Now, I don't know if I finished saying this. People who know nothing about a handmade axe will get this, and because of that, they'll think it's a major flaw. And and the thing that irritates me the most, it doesn't actually make me mad, is when people accuse me of having sent them a second. It's like seconds are not available in the US. So it's just not a second, no matter what. And these details are common. So EW. All right, so we didn't plan a grand finale for you. We're just going to wrap it up from here. We'll do more videos, and we'll do some more educational videos. One thing that I want to do is, Council Tool also makes a good axe. I appreciate the workmanship details and, every detail in Gransfors. Council Tool axes, they don't do some of the same nice things like the stampings in the head, you know, of the person who did it. Council Tool makes them a little bit differently. But it's still on super old equipment, and they're still, you know, hammer forged. But anyway, we'll talk about Council Tool details when we're in a Council Tool video. But anyway, Council Tool also makes a fine axe, and do some videos that compare the Council Tool to the Gransfors of its size, so that you can see the differences. Now, we're not going to go out and chop wood. A lot of you know that I have back issues, and there are things that other people can easily do that are a bigger project for me. So that's why you don't see us out in the field. But we can give you, you know, weights and sizes and you know, other details and show them together. That's something we plan to do. So anyway, that's all we got for you today. Be sure, we mentioned this before, be sure and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, because we will tell you when like a Gransfors order comes in. We'll put that on both of those, and other things that you might be interested in, any of our knife lines and all that. So also, if you're traveling through Omaha, we're not much out of your way. Your phone will bring you here. So if you are coming from out of town, and we're serious on this, if you're from out of town and you're coming through not during store hours, now if it's 5 a.m., just forget it. But if we close at 5:30 and you're going to be coming through, you know, even 7 or 8 o'clock, contact us in advance and see if somebody can meet you here, because if you're traveling from another state, we want you to be able to stop in if you want to. So call us and make a sort of appointment, and we'll exchange phone numbers and get you in to see our stuff. And that's going to wrap it up for this video. We'll try to do more, and we'll talk to you soon.